Have you ever watched an elite runner just glide by and wondered, how do they do that? It looks so, effortless. Well, I'll tell you, it's not just about stronger legs or bigger lungs. The real secret, the source of all that speed, is hidden away in a place most of us runners completely ignore. We're talking about the hips, the true engine room of your body. And today, we're going to learn how to turn that engine on.
So let me just ask you this straight up. What if I told you that on every single run, you might be wasting 90% of your available power? It sounds crazy, I know, but for so many of us, it's true. We're basically running with the emergency brake on, leaving our most powerful engine just sitting there, completely switched off.
Here's the core of the problem. We're all taught the same thing, right? The common belief is that you get fast by pushing hard off the ground with your feet and your calves. But the elite secret? It completely flips that upside down. Real power doesn't come from pushing down. It comes from rotating through your hips. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so to really understand this whole rotation thing, we've got to break it down. And the first piece of the puzzle, the thing that creates all this power potential, is something called pelvic rotation. Think about it. Most of us run with square hips. You know, your pelvis stays totally flat, facing forward like a solid block of wood. Well, pelvic rotation is the exact opposite of that. It's this subtle but incredibly powerful twisting of your pelvis around your spine every time you take a step. And that little twist, that creates a massive amount of rotational force, or what physicists call torque.
So, how does this actually work? It's pretty simple when you picture it. As your right knee drives forward, your right hip comes forward with it. At the same time, your left hip naturally rotates back. Now this simple little twist gives you two incredible benefits. First, you get what I call free speed. It adds 2 to 3 inches of virtual length to your stride without you having to reach and overstride. And second, this motion winds up your core muscles just like a rubber band, storing energy that then snaps back to help propel your other leg forward. It's efficiency, pure and simple.
Okay, so you're probably asking, how do I turn this on? Well, the key is right here in this quote. You have to imagine you're running on a tightrope. See, if your stance is wide, your hips are physically locked in place. They can't rotate. But the moment you narrow your stance and bring your feet closer to a center line, boom, you unlock them. You give them the freedom to move.
But look, rotation is only half of the story. It creates the potential for power, sure, but what's actually hitting the gas pedal? Where does the real, raw propulsion come from? Well, that brings us to part 2 of our engine, the powerful glute whip.
The glute whip is your true source of forward drive. I want you to forget everything you've learned about pushing off the ground with your toes. This is all about using your gluteus maximus, literally the biggest, most powerful muscle in your entire body, to aggressively pull your whole thigh backward. It's not a push, it's a powerful, sweeping whip driven right from your hip. This powerful backward drive is what literally shoots your center of mass forward. The first benefit is pretty obvious. You get a serious injection of horizontal speed. But the second benefit is, honestly, a game changer for staying healthy. By generating power from your huge glute muscles, you take all that explosive pressure off of your poor little calves and your Achilles tendon. You're finally letting the big muscles do the heavy lifting, which is what they were designed for. Now, to really feel this, you have to get pushing down out of your head. Instead, use this amazing sensory cue on your next run. Imagine you have thick, heavy mud caked on the bottom of your shoe and you're trying to scrape it off by dragging your foot backward along the ground. That feeling, that scraping motion, that's the glute whip. Okay, so we've got pelvic rotation on one side and the glute whip on the other. Now here comes the aha moment. These are not two separate things you have to think about. In fact, they are one single, perfectly synchronized system. I want you to picture your hips as a revolving door. It's a perfect analogy. You literally cannot push one side of the door forward without the other side automatically swinging back. It's physics. The forward knee drive, your pelvic rotation, is mechanically locked to the backward thigh whip. They are two inseparable halves of one single powerful motion.
And here's why this matters so much right now, in the age of super shoes. Those amazing shoes give you a ton of vertical energy return. They bounce you up. Now, if you're running with stiff, square hips, you just kind of bounce up and down in place, wasting all that expensive foam and carbon. But when you engage this revolving door, you harness all that vertical bounce and redirect it into powerful, efficient, horizontal speed. You're turning bounce into forward motion.
So the theory is all well and good, but how do you actually flip the switch and turn this engine on during a run? All right, let's get practical.
Now listen, you can't just force this from your very first step. You gotta boot the system up properly. Think of it in 3 phases. Phase 1, for the first 5 minutes of your run, just focus on quick, short, choppy steps. Get your cadence up. Then, Phase 2, for the next 5 minutes, slowly start to narrow your stance to find that tightrope. And only then, once you're aligned, do you move to Phase 3. Just relax your core and let the revolving doors start to turn on its own.
And while you're out there, just keep this simple 3-point checklist in your head. First cue, the tightrope. That's all about your foot placement to unlock the hips. Second cue, belt buckle flashlight. Imagine a flashlight on your belt buckle and just feel the beam swinging gently from left to right. That confirms you're rotating. And finally, cue 3, wipe the mud. That's your ticket to firing up that powerful glute whip.
Okay, this next part is absolutely critical. Anytime you change how you move, there are risks. So, let's talk about the 3 most common mistakes people make so you can do this smart and, most importantly, stay injury-free.
The first big pitfall is the crossover. This happens when you try so hard to run on that tightrope that you actually step across the center line. This puts a crazy amount of strain on your IT band and your knee. The fix is simple. Your foot should land on the center line, right under your hip, never across your body.
All right, mistake number 2 is what's sometimes called duck butt. This is when your body tries to cheat the glute whip by arching the lower back instead. This is bad news. It jams up your lumbar spine and is a recipe for serious back pain. The fix is a great little cue: tuck the tail. Just gently pull your belly button in toward your spine to keep everything stable and neutral. And finally, the last big error: don't force the twist. Some people hear rotation and they start using their abs to actively wrench their torso around. This is a quick way to strain your obliques or your inner thigh muscles. You have to remember, the rotation is a reaction. It's a consequence of your legs moving correctly. The action is the knee drive and the glute whip. Just relax your core and let the rotation happen naturally. So there you have it. That's the blueprint. It's the key to unlocking your body's real running engine, turning simple rotation into free speed and incredible power. The whole system is already there, inside you, just waiting to be switched on. So the only question left is, where are you going to direct all that power?